half of my thumb is gone, and my ligaments and all my muscles are torn off, as you guys seen in the picture.
It's her fault.
Their pig nearly bit your thumb off.
I petted her with my left hand, and I looked away for 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden there's just blood everywhere, and half of my finger's gone.
Where do you pet pigs?
Not in their mouth.
I think it's time that you start acting like the grown woman you are and you take responsibility for your actions.
Me and Miss Brown met at a bookstore, and I was in the mystery section reading over some books, and she approached me, and this is the first person that I had met since I moved to this state, so I was kind of excited to, get out and meet somebody.
You all hit it off right away.
And we just hit it off.
And is that when she told you about the pig?
Correct, Your Honor.
And did she tell you that the pig's name was Penelope?
She did tell me that the pig's name was Penelope. She also told me that the pig was very sociable and it liked to be around people.
Now, before this, other than a bacon and eggs breakfast, had you ever had any contact with pigs?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, you all raised Penelope, right?
That's correct,
Tell
Your
me
Honor.
about Penelope.
She's the sweetest little pig. Like, she's the best pet I've ever had. Like, honestly, it's almost like a dog, you can potty train her. Then she will come, she responds to her name. She actually rolls over.
Now, did you all have her from her time as a baby?
Yes. We got her when she was about 6 weeks old, and now she's a year already, right?
Yeah, about a year old. She's a cuddler.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like a dog, right?
She's super sweet.
Now, is she well behaved?
Oh yes, we actually have a trainer specifically for her.
So, Ms. Moore, they're describing a pig with wings. I mean, an angel pig. You tell me who you met, and how did this happen?
Your Honor, I met a monster. That's what happened. She told me.
That's ridiculous.
She
No.
told me that the pig got along with strangers and that the pig loved to be fed by anybody who approached
That's not
her.
true, Your
So
Honor.
I took it upon myself.
So you're going to the house, you're expecting to feed Penelope. What happens?
We were going to have a brunch, and I got there. She shows me pictures, professional pictures of her and her pig. So I'm like, that's really cute. It's like her kid. Because I have a kid. So we
Me
bought.
too. I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
Not 3 pigs. I have 3 sons.
So, we got there, everyone was, socializing and having a good time. And later on in the afternoon, I decided I wanted to go meet Penelope.
Are you by yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is Penelope in the house? Is she out on the front porch? Where is
Penelope
she?
was in the backyard in her little barn area that
Okay.
she sits in.
Then what happens?
So I approached her. She seen me coming for her, so she kind of walked up to where the door was.
And she's cute, right?
Yes, and she's cute.
Cute as
And
pigs can be.
If she looked aggressive, obviously I wouldn't approach her.
But you didn't think she was going to be aggressive.
Exactly.
So then what did you do?
So when I approached her, I had food like celery, and I petted her with my left hand, and I looked away for 2 seconds because I thought I heard somebody come outside. And then I look back, and then all of a sudden there's just blood everywhere, and half of my finger's gone, and I couldn't even grasp what was going on.
No.
But she says.
And this is a shot of your hand?
Yes, Your Honor. Look
Okay,
at that.
you submitted
Look at
this
that.
to the court. This is what it looked like after you got it out of
Yes, Your
Penelope's
Honor.
mouth?
Yes, Your Honor. Tell me that doesn't look like a nice pig. Why would you have a monster like
Mr. and
that in
Mrs.
your
Brown,
house?
Looks like this little piggy isn't gonna make it home.
you see this. How did you all know that something bad had happened?
Well, we didn't even know what had happened at first, because we were with our guests and then suddenly we hear screaming and then she runs in bleeding.
Yeah,
I had no idea what happened. We're
Did
like,
this shock y'all that Penelope nearly bit somebody's thumb
of
off?
Yes,
course,
Your
we
Honor.
could not believe
Yes.
it, honestly, because
She had never done anything like this before?
Never. She's the sweetest.
Tell me this. Miss Moore comes over. She's expecting to have a great day, get to know her new friend, and you all get closer, and she leaves with a mangled hand from your property. Why isn't this your fault?
Because she disobeyed our clear
should have
instructions.
signs up that say, "Beware of the pig."
What were your
when we
instructions?
received our guests, we told them whoever wanted to meet the pig, they had to wait. That later on we would go and we would introduce them because the pig doesn't know them. So the pig is like any other
Well, were you
animal.
worried about Penelope being surprised and biting the hell out of somebody?
Not biting, but surprised, of course, because if there's a lot of people she doesn't know, like even a dog or a cat, they'll get anxious, a little bit nervous.
Sure.
So we wanted to avoid that.
You were trying to make sure Penelope was comfortable too.
Of course, everybody. We're trying to cater to everybody, so that's why we were very clear.
Well, Mr. Brown, where were you at the time that this screaming comes?
So we were with the guests, and I hear somebody that's hysterical screaming. So
Yeah, you would be too if you got bit by a pig.
So direct your comments to me. I know this is important, really. I'm just trying to get to the truth, okay?
yeah, so we were with the guests. I heard screaming. I immediately went to go check it out, and I saw Miss Moore, and she had covered in blood.
And did her hand look like that when you got there?
Yes, Your Honor. I immediately started trying to assess what the wound was. I brought her into the kitchen. I ran her hand under some cold water to see how bad the actual injury was.
And Miss Moore, do you remember Mr. Brown trying to give you aid and take care of your thumb?
Vaguely, I do remember them yelling.
I know you must have been freaking out with your hand looking like that.
Yes.
But
Your
you do
Honor.
remember him trying to take care of you.
I do, after they yelled at me for being in the backyard with
So,
Penelope.
Mr. Brown, what did you do next?
So I went to my medic bag. I grabbed some gauze.
You said medic bag. How would you have a medic bag?
Well, Your Honor, I was in the United States Navy for 6 years.
And
I served
thank
as
you
a
for
Navy
your
corporal.
service, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was stationed with 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines.
This is that chiseled man in that picture is you?
Yes, and what I mainly did was combat medicine and also dealing with trauma.
So you've seen the worst of the worst.
Yes, Your Honor.
So did this freak you out a little bit when you saw Miss Moore's thumb nearly chewed off?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So Miss Moore, he's rendering aid to your hand. What's going through your head at this time?
I honestly was in shock. I didn't know what to think. They didn't really react when I came in and told them what happened. I mean, obviously I was crying and screaming.
He
You would
ran
think they would
to
be
her
more
aid.
sympathetic, but they were not.
So you're giving aid. Where are you, Miss Brown, when your husband's giving aid to Miss Moore?
So I went to clear the guests and tell them that everything was being taken care of. I was, reassuring them that everything was going to be
'Cause
okay.
they must have been
because
freaking out a little bit,
everybody
too.
was freaking out, of course.
In terms of the guest meeting Penelope, how would it have worked out?
Okay, so the reason we put the pig, right? We put Penelope at the far barn that's at the end of our property. So what we were going to do is after we finished the brunch, we would take them in pairs and we would go introduce them. And if they wanted to feed them, we would show them how to feed them because there's a specific way.
How do you feed a pig? What's a special way to feed a pig?
It's like similar how like feeding a horse. You want to keep your hand flat and straight.
Okay.
You don't want to leave anything hanging out. You especially don't want to be reaching towards the animal's mouth.
Okay, and now when you went to feed Penelope, show me how you did it, but do it with your left hand because I know your thumb,
Yeah, I can't.
it looks like I could blow on it and make it hurt.
I did some research before I came to her house because I'm not going to just approach a random stranger. I have common sense.
Oh,
and
common
you guys should have a
common
beware of a
sense.
pig
Enough to pet a
out on the
stranger's
barn.
animal, try
Yeah.
to feed it.
You did a little research. I guess feeding Penelope was pretty important to you for you to do a little research.
Yeah, I fed her the way that, I had done research on it.
Then what happens?
I had started petting her after because she came up to me and she was eating out of my hand.
So are you petting her with the other hand?
Yes.
Okay, so you got one hand on her back.
Correct.
Is it her back or where do you pet pigs?
I mean, not in their mouth. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, pigs are pretty smart and they are able to pick up on people's energy. Do you think that she gave off this dangerous kind of energy? Maybe that's why she got bit.
We like to be scratched
You-
like here behind the ear.
Okay, Ms. Moore, you put in the court documents that you submitted that you have $30,000 in past medical bills, and then you anticipate another 10 in repair of that thumb, and then you're asking this court to award you $10,000 for pain and suffering. What kind of pain and suffering has this thumb put on you?
Well, for starters, half of my thumb is gone. And my ligaments and all my muscles are torn off, as you guys seen in the picture. And there was just blood everywhere. I used to drive in a stick shift. I can't drive my car anymore. I had to sell my car.
Are you right-handed?
Well, when you drive a stick shift, you drive with the right hand.
Yes,
So
ma'am. I've driven a few.
Okay, so I can't drive my car, so I had to sell my car. I have a son that plays basketball.
How old is
can't-
your son?
He's 6.
Okay, those are great ages.
Yes.
Great ages.
I
Makes me
can't
reminisce.
hold him with this because this is the arm that I usually hold him with. I can't play basketball with him, so this is.
Does he know that mommy's different?
Yes, he does, Your Honor.
Y'all see that this is a big deal. It's not only affected her, it's affected her
It's
son.
her fault.
Yeah, it's a bummer she won't be able to make it to the thumb war competition. That's a bummer.
Y'all have children?
No,
So-
Your Honor.
Exactly.
But you have
Now,
nieces and nephews, though, right?
And we have nephews, yes.
So you understand how a mommy would be affected by that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, folks, we've been talking about Penelope. It's my understanding that Penelope is here.
Yeah.
We have her with her trainer. Sheriff Matt, would you go and get Penelope and her trainer?
Yes, Your Honor.
They're bringing a pig into the courtroom?
Oh, no. Good girl.
Oh my gosh. She is pretty cute.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, this is Penelope.
That's Penelope.
Isn't she the sweetest? Look at her. Come on, honey.
Almost makes me want a pig. For the record, ma'am, tell me your name.
The judge looks like he's about to eat the pig for breakfast.
Natalia.
Tell us about Penelope.
Well, Penelope is a year old and she's 60 pounds. She's a potbelly pig, so she's going to be minimum 150 pounds.
And what about a pig's demeanor? That is, domestic pigs like this. Tell me what their personalities are like.
Well, potbellies, especially at her age, they're just like puppies, very curious animals, very energetic animals, but also love to take long naps.
What makes them bite?
They, nothing necessarily makes them bite. If someone had food and they didn't feed her properly, that would be an issue.
Is that usually how these injuries happen, that people don't have the food right in their hand or something?
Yeah, just like you're feeding a horse, you put your hand flat and you offer it. But you shouldn't offer an animal food if the owner has not given you permission to do so.
And I would imagine that pigs have pretty strong jaws, right?
Not too strong. I mean,
Well, apparently strong enough to tear off somebody's thumb, right?
Yeah, indeed. But if she knew it was a human hand, she would not have bitten down like that.
What's the proper way to feed a pig?
Just like feeding a horse, you have to bend down. I can demonstrate
All
for
right,
you.
please show me how you do that.
This is a normal dog treat. So you bend down slowly. Look. See how gentle she's doing that?
Okay.
Very slow. You crouch down to their level so they're not afraid. You show them the treat.
Miss Moore, is that how you did it? You
Yes,
did
Your
it
Honor.
gently, you went down to her level?
Yes, Your Honor,
You put
and
your hand out flat?
Yes, Your Honor, and I waited for her to approach me.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, it sounds, at least from her perspective, that she did everything right and ends up with part of her thumb torn off.
Honestly, I can't trust her word because we told her not to go and she did
Well,
it.
I
So
can't trust you
definitely there's
because you
somebody
told me the pig was
we
nice.
can't trust.
So if she had followed your instruction, this would have never happened.
Absolutely.
That's where y'all stand.
Yes.
They did not give me any instructions
Yes, we did.
on that. No,
Yes,
you did
we
not.
did.
And you
So,
had
Miss
no
Natalia,
signs.
thank you. And Miss Penelope, thank you too.
Thank
you
you very
may
much,
be
Your Honor.
released.
Come on, baby. Say bye. Come on.
So, Miss Moore, tell me this. Your son is affected by this. You've been affected by this. I imagine that there's some things you want to say to the Browns in a respectful way, but something you want them to hear.
I honestly think that you guys need to stop having socializing events at your home when you have a monster living in there, or keep the pig on a different property. That's all I gotta say.
I think it's time that you start acting like the grown woman you are and you take responsibility for your actions.
You know, folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff, that is you, Miss Moore, who's suing the Browns.
Wow, things are getting pretty heated, and it looks like the verdict is in. What do you guys think the judgment's going to be? Do you think he's going to rule in favor of the plaintiff or the defendant? Comment below, and let's find out.
Browns, you must prove in order to be successful that the Browns were wrong and that their wrong caused your very, very severe injuries. It is no secret that you have suffered terrible life-altering injuries. This has affected you as a mom, it's affected you as a woman, it's affected you as a person, and that is not lost on this court, believe me. And Ms. Moore, in this case, you have sued the Browns for $30,000 in past medical bills, $10,000 for future medical expenses, and you want this court to award you $10,000 for your pain and suffering which has been demonstrated. A $50,000 award against the Browns is what you seek. Now you, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, you all feel terrible about her injury. This was the beginning of a good friendship. It should have been a day for a wonderful brunch and where your guest got to meet Penelope. You gave strict instructions that folks should go when you say they should go.
Yes, Your
Here, you all believe this is not your fault. If she had followed the directions, fed Penelope correctly, frankly, waited until it was time, then this never would have happened. Mrs. Moore, you've proven that there is a wrong. You've proven that the wrong caused your terrible injuries. However, here, the wrong was yours. You should not have gone out without the Browns. You should not have gone and fed Penelope in the way that you did. And unfortunately, the law holds you accountable for your injuries. So I must, as much as it pains me in light of this injury, I must find against you and in favor of the Browns. And that is my final verdict. This matter is adjourned.
I have to say that I completely agree with that judgment. The thing is they clearly stated that, hey, do not go over there without our permission, wait for us, and she still went over there. So it is her fault. So I am not surprised by this kind of judgment. What about you guys? Are you guys surprised about this judgment? Do you think it was too much, too little, or just right? I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know. Love ya.